So what's up, welcome back. Today is Tuesday, April the 14th. We just saw Nike catch many sneakerheads off guard with a surprise restock, a major one at that, which continues the Mamba Day festivities. We also got a brand new leak from Jordan Brand, another cool pair, which you guys can look forward to hitting the streets coming up in 2027. And unfortunately, some bad news, as rumors would suggest that one of this summer's most highly anticipated collaborations from Jordan Brand has actually been pushed back. So we're gonna discuss why that could potentially be the case, all that plus more. If you guys enjoy these updates, real quick, do me a favor, hit the like button down below if you're new here. Consider subscribing. I'm dropping daily sneaker news updates, which to kick things off, we're gonna jump into some quick updates, follow it up with today's releases. First up, we got Joe Freshgoods, which recently he teased his latest upcoming collaboration with New Balance, and today we just officially learned that we actually got two pairs to look forward to, which would include the Finger Waves as well as Naughty Things, which is kind of a funny name for a pair of sneakers, but it makes sense with the concept, right? These pairs are inspired by those late 90s, early 2000s music videos. You guys know the ones with the fisheye lens, you know, classics from artists like Missy Elliott, Busta Rhymes, Juvenile, you name it. You can see the details all the way into the packaging with that signature fisheye lens shot, which kind of is incorporated here into the design of the box, right? So Joe Freshgoods, his name been ringing bells over at New Balance. I read some of this, actually his 12th installment with New Balance, which is absolutely mind-blowing, right? When you talk about these joints right here, you got a take on the 1890, which is New Balance's technical runner, one of these classics that they've kind of revamped, brought them back in full circulation. So I like what I see here. Joints are dope. Seems like these are getting a lot of love as far as the first impressions. I can't really explain why, but to me, when I see these, the first thing that comes to mind is like a pair of Nike New Balances. I don't really know exactly why, it just kind of gives me that feel. But I like what I see right here. And for Joe Freshgoods to be getting so much love off the first impressions, that's really cool. But as far as behind the scenes, as far as his relationship with New Balance, it's kind of interesting to see that somebody like Joe Freshgoods, who's been doing this thing over at the brand for years now, it seems like he doesn't have full control as far as like the models, right?
There's no handbook to like sneaker deals, you know?
This is just my assumption. As far as the designs, I feel like he's allowed to tell his stories, you know, come up with cool concepts. But as far as choosing the models, doesn't it feel like New Balance like chooses the model and then gives it to the collaborators rather than them having a choice of like, you know, which pair they want to choose to work on? Just something to think about. But regardless, shoes are dope. If you guys recall previously, Joe Freshgoods did work on some New Balances inspired by the film Belly, directed by iconic director Hype Williams, which of course he's known to direct a lot of these classic videos. So the theme continues on. Some cool pairs to look forward to as far as release details and everything. I'm not exactly sure when these are set to drop, but my guess, the fact that he has officially revealed these via his Instagram, you can expect to see these joints dropping sooner than later. Now, also recently, we have seen a Trophy Room Jordan 7 sample, which surfaced recently. Which, speaking of Trophy Room, do y'all recall how we were supposed to get a pair of Trophy Room 6s, which seems to be like put on the back burner? I don't know if them joints are scrap or if they'll ever see the light of day or anything like that. But as far as these 7s, if you guys haven't noticed by now, contains a very interesting detail, a little switch up here on the upper. And you guys know when it comes to these Jordan Brand classics, sneakerheads, they really aren't too happy when you switch up the design elements, right? They could go for different colorways, all that, but switching up the elements to a classic model like this, I'm guessing the fact that they went ahead and scrapped these joints was probably a good look. And if you guys recall, we did actually get an official Jordan 7 Trophy Room release back in 2022, obviously based off the OG Olympic pair. So that's real cool to see as far as like the sample versus the finished product. I think Jordan Brand made the right decision. And speaking of Trophy Room, if you guys are ever wondering, you know, what's been going on with Marcus Jordan, well, he actually has recently grown dreads and seems to be now a full-time DJ. So for somebody like Marcus, I would say it's just really cool to see him, you know, finding his true calling in life. And might have to pull up to the show, man. Hopefully that boy's keeping things sober when it comes to his DJ sets and all that good stuff. So with those quick updates out of the way, let's go ahead and jump here into today's releases, which we saw Nike surprise everybody with a major Kobe restock continuing the Mamba Day festivities. So as you guys see, a wide range of models. These are more recent drops, pairs which we've seen released over the last year or so. So comment down below, man. It's really cool to see all of these different Kobes stacked up next to each other. Let me know if you guys had any success. Were you able to maybe pick up some pairs which you possibly missed out on in the past? Restock went live at 10 a.m. Eastern, and the cool thing about this one, even like the cook groups and everything, they weren't even aware of this restock until maybe like a couple of hours or so, if even that, before the release. So maybe Nike possibly loaded these joints up at the last minute. But looking back at the various Kobe models, one thing I could say, the Kobe 4, definitely iconic, revolutionary, kind of started a trend as far as like low top basketball sneakers, which you got to give it up to Kobe. Of course, you guys know early days playing soccer kind of led on to that inspiration. And then it's also wild that when you talk about the Kobe 9, they went like full boxer, like high top with them joints. So just kind of cool to look back at the legacy. Definitely one of the greatest runs of signature models, you know, in Nike's history. Now, as far as other releases via the sneakers app, we did see Nike drop the Air Max 90 Ultramarine based off the OG Air Max 180. Really cool take on this classic model. As far as the stock numbers, I did report yesterday, these were going to be quite limited, just under 2,000 pairs. As far as those stock numbers turned out to be spot on, as this release did result in a pretty quick sellout. And low-key, if you guys haven't noticed by now, silently, it seems like behind the scenes, Nike's kind of been giving the Air Max 90, that Air Max 95 treatment. And what I mean by that is we're starting to see some premiere releases hit the sneakers app, such as these Ultramarines. Not too long ago for Air Max Day, they dropped the infrareds as well. And then they're also dropping more like general release colors, you know, which are a little more widely accessible as well. So you got the limited pairs on the sneakers app, the more accessible pairs, which I'm not mad at it. But as far as the Air Max 90, I feel like it doesn't really have the same impact as a classic like the 95, but still a great shoe regardless. And when we talk about the Air Max series in general, just a question for everybody watching, does it kind of feel like maybe the Air Maxes get a lot more love out there, saying like Europe, the UK, than they do in the States? Just something I would love to hear from you guys about. Now, on top of other releases, we did get the Tom Sachs GPS latest colorway, which Nike dropped roughly around like 10,000 pairs or so. And at the time of this recording, I still do believe we have sizes available. And then we had the Songkran SB Dunks, which were super limited. You know, around 600 pairs only hit the sneakers app, which of course these did drop at various skate shops, other retailers. And looking at these joints right here, not even gonna lie, like SBs aren't really my thing, but color on here, really dope execution, right? So that's what we had as far as today's releases. Let's go ahead and jump into some Jordan brand updates, which first up, big leak, courtesy of Z Sneakerheads and Sneaker Files, expected 2027. We have a Phoenix Sun Air Jordan 5 expected to drop, which does line up perfect timing as next year's All-Star game is supposed to be lining up to be in Phoenix. So this pair happens to be inspired by a Sean Marion PE, which has similar color blocking. Of course, the 23 was replaced with his number, but just like the Sean Marion joints, these will be returning with the Jumpman on the back. So based off the first impression, seems like a lot of people are excited about this. You know, with the All-Star Weekend theme, I feel like it's perfect timing for Jordan Brand to drop a shoe like this. And when you talk about colorways of Jordan classics based off of other classic NBA teams, I'm all for it, right? I think it's a great look, really cool way to kind of mix things up. And as far as the 2027 lineup, low key actually looking quite impressive, I would say. So seems like people are giving 2 thumbs up to these right here. But with some good news, unfortunately, we have some bad news. Well, depending on how you look at it. So rumors would suggest that the upcoming Nigel Sylvester Brick After Bricks, unfortunately, have now been pushed back. Originally, these were slated to drop like top of May. Rumors would suggest we won't actually see these joints drop until June, which is anything too crazy. But I have a theory of why this sneaker has potentially been pushed back. And if you guys haven't noticed by now, Nigel definitely making waves over at Jordan Brand. After what we saw, the rollout for the Brick by Bricks last year, look, the only thing right to do would be to turn things up a notch. And recently he's doing a little press run with a podcast appearance on Joe and Jada, of course, their podcast. gifting them free sneakers, which of course you guys know sneakerheads hate it. Anytime celebrities get gifted free shoes, but look, it is what it is. As you guys know, Fat Joe, huge sneakerhead, he had to give it the infamous tongue lick, which, look, bruh. Fat Joe, you gotta chill, man. Like, as you get older and older, licking the bottom of shoes just gets creepier and creepier, is all I'm saying, right? I got love for you, bro. You an OG pioneer, as well in the rap game, as well as sneaker game, but it's like, bruh, you just gotta relax, man. The eye leaning to the side, bruh, like, chill. So my theory, as far as this sneaker being pushed back, is the fact that they want to ensure, you know, a proper rollout. As you can see, Nigel pulling up, doing different guest appearances, getting ready for the big release, which on top of that, expect to see a huge activation, of course, in the NYC streets as well. So for a shoe like this to be pushed back, I kind of look at it as Nigel, like, he knows there's a life after his Jordan brand collabs, right? There's only so long which you can remain at the top. I think something that's really important to him is like establishing these relationships and putting himself out there, right? When you talk about Jordan collaborators, seems like Nigel could be one of the most visible, right? Every release, he's out there shaking people's hands. Every Jordan brand activation, he's popping out. I feel like he's just doing all of the right things and really establishing himself as somebody that's likable, you know, even outside of the sneaker world. So when you talk about Nigel, fours, you already know they're gonna be major. I would anticipate that this isn't gonna be the only release that we see from Nigel this year from Jordan brand. So after a pair of fours like this, like, what's next, right? I mean, he could drop another pair of ones, but I would like to see him take things into a different direction. Let me know how y'all feel about that. And then lastly, of course, coming up this weekend, we got the Jordan 11 University Blue set to release, which of course you got exclusive access via JD Sports Finish Line. Dick's Sporting Goods, they're doing a little raffle for this weekend's upcoming drop. But as far as this pair, the big storyline for me is how many pairs are Jordan brand Nike actually gonna release. We saw last week what they did with them Flight Club Jordan 1s. It'll be interesting to see if they drop these limited via the sneakers app, which causes people to run out and then kind of like, you know, double back on these joints right here. So I asked you guys, are you gonna be picking up this pair coming up this weekend? We had just under 300 votes, to which the majority of you guys coming in at 89%. Said absolutely no. VO23 said, yes, sir, I cop everything. Respect, bro. Hey, you only got one life, man. Live it up. Asteroid, he said, I'm a pass. I got to get a few of the past releases still. Respect. Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that, man. But hopefully this is one of those ones which, you know, they should be easily, widely available. Maybe you could pick them up at a later date. Who knows? Maybe even get them on sale. Lawnmower said, too clean. Goes with most fits. I keep it simple and let them cook. Hey, respect, man. Reggie said, not a bad cop, but pass. South Jersey said, pass. Don't really wear UNC colorways like that. And then K1D Fresh said, pass. All right. So seems like the majority of people say they aren't rocking with these, but kind of like what I spoke about with Jordan brand, if they make these a little more tougher to grab, will that cause, you know, the effect of people always wanting what they can't have? I want to go ahead and grab these. We'll see how it plays out, but we're a few days away from the weekend drop. But it's definitely one of those storylines that I'm going to be curious to see how it all plays out. So that's all I got for you guys here today. Appreciate everybody for dropping their feedback in the poll. If you ever want to participate, you can find it via the post tab here on this channel. So JATV, drop your feedback. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button for me on the way out. I'll catch you guys next time. Stay safe, stay blessed. I'm out. Love.